To House Speaker John Boehner. He stunned the political world, of course, late September by announcing his imminent retirement. But in the months since then, it has been anything but smooth transition in the House. We welcome once again to Special Report, Speaker of the House, John Boehner. Thanks for being here.
Good to be here.
Well, you have a conference meeting tonight, a little bit after this. Right now, at this hour, we're told Paul Ryan is meeting with the House Freedom Caucus, talking with them, clearly an indication that he's warmed to throwing his hat in the ring. Do you know what Paul Ryan's going to do?
No, but I do expect that we'll know later on this evening what his answer is. I think Paul would be a great speaker. I think he's got the skills to do the job. And I think he also has the credentials to reach out to traditional conservative organizations to help bridge the gap that we have in the House today.
So he can get to the 218 votes needed?
I think so.
He's getting a lot of heat from conservatives about different votes and his immigration stance. Today, Senator Reid and the Democratic leader in the Senate endorsed him. You think he won't have a problem?
I think he'll be all right.
What about this meeting tonight? The debt ceiling. Are you talking about the debt ceiling vote?
We'll be talking to our members tonight and tomorrow about the debt ceiling. Listen, I've made clear we're not going to default on our debt. And there are several paths forward that I'm going to lay out for the members. But we're going to find some path forward here in the next few days, and we're going to move.
The House Majority Leader, McCarthy, said tonight that he didn't see a clean debt ceiling bill getting 218 votes.
Well, that would be difficult. Our members want real reforms. I went through this fight with President Obama in 2011, and we came to an agreement. Not quite what I wanted, but it was $2.1 trillion worth of deficit reduction over 10 years in order to provide several $trillion worth of relief on the debt limit. The President and I have been in conversations for the last month over a budget deal and a debt limit increase. And unfortunately, over the last week, they just walked away from it. And so we're left kind of hanging, holding the bag, and we're going to have to find a way forward.
Last time the debt ceiling came up was February 2014. Congress voted to suspend it, but 199 Republicans voted against raising the debt ceiling, including Paul Ryan, by the way. So if the high water mark was 28 Republicans voting for it, now you need 30 if all the Democrats voted for raising the debt ceiling. How are you going to get that?
We'll find a way to get there. I don't like the idea of doing a clean debt ceiling. But we're going to talk to our members, and we'll find a way forward here in the next couple of days.
All right, so you're saying Paul Ryan will get in and will have the votes?
No. Paul, I believe, will have an announcement later on this evening. I'm not sure what that announcement's going to be. But if he does it, I think he'll have the support of the members.
Now, before the vote, when would the vote for Speaker be? Do you know?
We've not yet set a date. And I'll do that, I think, here in the next day or two.
You have a meeting tomorrow morning?
We do.
So are you going to try to clear the plate for the next Speaker of the House?
Well, we've tried to do as much as we could. My big priority this week is to reauthorize the D.C. Opportunity Scholarship Program. Program I started 10 or 11 years ago, and it helps about 1,700 kids here in D.C. Go to a school and empowers their parents. But dealing with the debt ceiling is a big priority. I think the Ex-Im Bank is going to be dealt with through a discharge petition. I expect to see that on the floor early next week.
Also not popular with conservatives.
And I also expect that you'll see action on the highway bill before the end of the month as well.
So again, are you going to clear the plate before the next Speaker takes over?
I'd like to if I could.
If they can't get to 218 behind Paul Ryan or whomever, how long would you stay on?
I've made it clear to the members that I'm committed to an orderly transition to a new Speaker. But I've also made clear I expect to be out of there by the end of this month. And I have confidence that I'll be out of there by the end of this month.
No worry about a vote at all?
I spent my whole life trying to do what my parents taught me, what I taught my girls, and I try to teach my members. You just do the right thing every day for the right reasons, the right things will happen.
Why should Ryan even consider taking this job after the treatment you received as House Speaker in this job?
Well, somebody has to have this job. And while I've taken my share of grief, I learned a long time ago that you got to play the cards you're dealt. And I've played the cards I was dealt every day. Now, I have to tell you, I've had a lot of bad hands. and I never got a day where I had 5 aces in my hand. But I think Paul Ryan's got the skills to do this job, and I hope he does decide to run, and if he does, I think he'll be elected.
Here's what a lot of conservatives say. They went into the midterms hearing repeal and replace Obamacare, and that just led to all of this expectation. Of course the president was going to veto it, but they felt like you weren't getting things done.
No, listen, we got an awful lot of things done. You look at the 4.5 years or almost 5 years that I've been Speaker. We protected 99% of the American people from an increase in our taxes. We saved $2.1 trillion in spending over 10 years. There's a reason that the budget deficit is 1/3 of what it was when we came to power. We made the first major entitlement reforms in 20 years. Saving Medicare over the course of the next 30 or 40 years, $2.9 trillion. There's a lot that we can point to. And there's another long list of things that didn't happen because we had a Republican majority here in Washington.
But using the power of the purse, do you think that the House has effectively deployed that since...
Absolutely, to the extent that we can. And we've moved bills to the Senate, but you know, in the Senate, if you have 54 votes, you don't have a majority. You've got to have 60 votes to move things in the Senate. And so there's a lot of things that couldn't happen in the Senate that came out of the House. It's part of the legislative process.
Why not push for budget reconciliation process and repeal 85% of Obamacare through that, since Senator Reid and...
That bill could be on the floor, as early as this week. If not, it'll be on the floor next week.
So you're going to do it?
And we're going to repeal as much of Obamacare as we can through the reconciliation process, the budget process, which isn't all of it, but you can basically gut Obamacare, which is what the House bill will do.
And you're going to move that forward? We're
going to move it forward.
All right, let's talk Benghazi. What do you expect about the Benghazi Select Committee, Hillary Clinton testifying Thursday?
Well, the former secretary was in office during the time of this attack. And I've made it pretty clear that this committee was set up to do one thing, and that's to get to the truth about what happened before, during, and after the attack in Libya. Unfortunately, the administration has stonewalled us, and stonewalled our committees to the point where we needed to have one committee and one focus, and that's why this committee was created. Today, the State Department turned over 1,300 pages of printed documents from Ambassador Stevens' emails. Today. They've been stonewalling us now for 3 years on giving us the documents that we need in order to get the truth out there. The only interest that the committee has in Secretary Clinton is, and her emails, with regard to Benghazi. We weren't interested in all the rest of these emails, but if it weren't for this committee, we would have never known about her private server and this whole other email controversy. Frankly, we wanted to have an interview with Secretary Clinton in private. She demanded it be in public. And so I expect we'll have a very professionally run hearing on Thursday. I'm confident that we'll learn more that'll help us get to the truth about what really happened.
Democrats say this is redundant. It is now the 8th investigation. You say that this is different because there's new information. But after what House Majority Leader McCarthy said, other Republicans have said about this committee and its political nature, does it somehow dim the prospects of something new coming out?
We should never be at this point. And if it weren't for the stonewalling from the administration in terms of turning over documents, this had been done a long time ago. Nobody else got to these documents until we got to the Select Committee. The other committees couldn't get the documents. We would never have learned about this private server.
Isn't there a high bar to find something new, something that advances this for the public knowledge that comes out of Thursday?
The truth. The truth and the facts. We don't know what happened before, during, and after this attack. The administration won't turn over the documents. They've been hiding the documents, and the question I keep asking myself, Bret, is why? Why won't they turn over these documents? Why won't they let the American people see the truth about what really happened that night?
Was the Gang of Eight briefed on a covert operation in Libya?
I don't recall that.
You don't recall that?
I don't recall that.
Kind of
we got briefed on a lot of things, but certainly had nothing to do with the attack.
Oh, there's a lot of talk. There was a presidential finding in March 2011 that was reported on. Many questions about moving weapons from Libya to Syria. And the committee says they're going to ask everything. Is that one of the things?
I don't know what they're prepared to ask. I was never briefed on that issue. I know that it's been investigated clearly. And I think Mike Rogers, the former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, pretty much debunked that whole idea that that there was an arms operation going on there run by the U.S. government.
Mr. Speaker, are you happy to be leaving?
Listen, I've been here 25 years. You know, it's time for me to move on. The last 40 years, I've worked 50 to 100 hours a week. You know, at some point, you just got to slow down a little bit.
And you expect that to happen at the end of the month?
I sure do.
Thanks for the time.
Nice to see you.